I've been in industry meetings like with heads of massive publishing companies or labels. I remember one time I was meeting with the head of a huge publishing company. He was the president at the time, and they asked me to play my music, and I played them some songs, and I played them some stuff that I had produced, and they said like, wow, that one of the songs, they're like, wow, that's incredible. And then they said, who did the production? And I said, I did it. And then they were like, oh, it's all right, we could have someone come in and reproduce it.
This is a podcast about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new song and everything else you have coming up.
Cool, sounds great.
Amazing. So I always start off with you were born and raised. I think I saw Michigan area or something. We're born and raised in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm from Traverse City, Michigan.
Okay, what's it like there? What was it like there?
Traverse City's in northern Michigan, so it's right on the water. I don't know
Oh,
if you
cool.
ever been to Michigan. It's so beautiful. It's almost like a vacation town. Like people
Okay.
go there to go on vacation and experience the water. And like it's almost like it's as beautiful as Maui, I always say, but people just don't know about it. So it's like Maui with empty beaches 3 months of the year. And then the other 9 months of the year is just ridiculous levels of snow.
Yeah, freezing cold. I have family in Cleveland area, so you're on what because they're on Lake Erie. You're on the other Great Lake. I can't Lake Michigan probably.
Yeah, we're on Lake Michigan. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So would you so being that close to the water, was that something you took advantage of as a kid?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you spend all your summers, the whole summer on the water, and whatever direction you drive, like in 5 to 10 minutes, you will hit some kind of a lake or either a big one or a small one. You never really know, but yeah, you'll hit something. So
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And
yeah,
what about, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's great. It's great.
When it comes to music, do you come from a musical household or a creative household at all?
Yeah. So my dad's an opera singer. My mom's a harpist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my sister's a singer as well. And my brother, he doesn't do music, but yeah, they're all musicians. So lots and lots of music growing up. And I grew up around this school called the Interlochen Center for the Arts, which is basically like my dad's been the head of the voice department there forever. And kids come from all over the world, like prodigies, to study there.
Mhm.
So I grew up with a lot of kids who like practice the piano 12 hours a day and shit like that, you know?
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was great for like my musical roots because I just got such great exposure to amazing musicians and to classical and to jazz and like real music. It's great for when you become an artist because you just have so much to pull from.
Did you learn like classical music? I mean, were you trained classically on any instrument or anything? I mean, did you play harp or sing opera or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm classically trained as a singer, lifelong, and then I started playing piano when I was 5 because all classical musicians make their kids play the piano. So yeah, I started playing piano at 5, and then I was immediately writing songs like the week I started to play piano, and then I started guitar at 12, and then I became a producer when I was like 15. I got Logic and started working on Logic.
Wow. So this has been something you've been striving for or doing your entire life, sounds like.
Yeah, it's not like a hobby.
Well, yeah, I know, not a hobby, but it needs to be like 5 and be like, okay, this is piano, but I'm also going to start writing songs.
Yeah, I knew what I was going to do from really young, for sure. I started a girl group when I was 8. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I've been focused for my whole life.
When aside from that girl group, were you doing any other band type projects as
Oh
a kid?
yeah. Yeah, I was in a girl band as well, which was really dope. Singing lead and playing lead guitar, and that was really fun. And obviously just like educationally, I was like constantly in all kinds of classes and constantly in lessons. Like I was raised as a hardcore musician, so that's like more my background.
Okay. And did you go to like Berkeley or anything like that to continue your study or no?
No, so I left as a really young teenager. I left school early and graduated early online and moved to New York because I got opportunities to work in the music industry out there.
Oh,
Super young.
wow.
Yeah.
What were you doing out in New York, if you don't mind talking about it?
I started, I guess what you could call like traditional artist development. So like I was recording every day. I was working with a lot of managers and producers and learning about branding, learning about like I guess I won't say who because I don't know if they'd want me to say, but I started around a really prolific camp of people in the industry, and they just let me like sit in their meetings and like learn about the business. They let me sit in sessions with bigger artists and like watch them. And it was such a unique education, and it was a huge blessing.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, being like immersed in it all. Not well, you're not going to learn that at a school or conservatory or anything like
Right.
that,
Yeah.
probably. Wow.
And
Okay,
just
so
like,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and like being from a small town, like my small town was 14,000 people who were like 98% white. Like outside of Interlaken, which was very multicultural, the rest of my life was very like one-dimensional as far as the types of people that I was around. So when I moved to New York, it was great because like I got to be around all different types of people. And I think that that exposure that young is like so good for you, just to like realize there's other religions, and there's, because where I'm from is very conservative, like everyone kind of thinks the same.
Mhm.
So it was really great for me.
Wow. And then when you're in New York and doing the working in this space, were you like writing and releasing songs at that point, or like how do you start really building your own like artist project?
I started off doing demos. The goal was like, let's do a demo that's good enough to submit to labels, right? Like that's like always the goal. At least back then, that was like the goal.
Right.
Um, and
Yeah, it's
I,
changed quite a bit
yeah, it's
since.
changed so much. But I really loved producing, and I ended up just spending hours and hours and hours and months locked in a room just producing and writing, and really falling in love with the craft of like making full songs by myself, which I don't think there's a lot of other young girls doing that at the time. Like I
Mhm.
didn't know any female producers, no one my age. So it was kind of lonely. But I think it empowered me, because all of a sudden I was able to make songs without having to wait for a producer or come up with the money to pay someone to help me or find an engineer. Like I empowered myself really, really young to be able to do it by myself. So I wasn't dependent on anyone.
That's amazing. I feel like I've said this before on the podcast, like for women in the industry trying, especially being a producer, like I feel like if I show up with my MacBook and I'm like, oh, I have GarageBand, I can make some beats. Like I'm a producer now. Like it's easier for me to just make some shit up about how I'm a producer versus like if you're a female in the industry trying to say, oh, I'm a producer. It's like, oh, well, you have to prove yourself a bit more.
1,000%. Like I've been in industry meetings, like with heads of massive publishing companies or labels. I remember one time I was meeting with the head of a huge publishing company. He was the president at the time, and they asked me to play my music, and I played them some songs, and I played them some stuff that I had produced. And they said like, wow, that one of the songs, they're like, wow, that's incredible. And then they said, who did the production? And I said, I did it. And then they were like, oh, it's all right, we could have someone come in and reproduce it. And I was like, it really changed how
Whoa,
like it totally
really?
changed their perception of the quality of the song.
That's wild. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure that happens all the time, but to
Oh,
hear like have it
totally.
firsthand, oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's
That must have
definitely
put it
a
like
shock.
a sour taste in your mouth. I mean, as far as that goes, like at that point, do you if you were to show other people your songs, I mean, or having that response, were you ever hesitant of being like, oh, I produce it, or do you not even care?
I just don't bring it up anymore. And even like when I co-produce on stuff with other male producers now, which is like almost all my sessions, I'm giving a lot of opinions and feedback. And if they'll let me behind the computer, some won't, I'll do my thing. But a lot of times it will be like they will never mention that I helped on production at all, but they might give themselves credit as a writer or something. So it's like there's always that inequality. And the thing is, like, even if I know, I don't fight for it, because it's like, even if I say like, yeah, I produced on this, like we co-produced it, whatever, they're still going to assume he did everything, because that's just how people think. So it's like, fuck it, I don't, it's whatever.
Right,
Oh, am
right.
I allowed to swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
yeah, of course you can swear. Yeah, you
sorry.
can swear. Don't apologize.
Okay.
And because what you've done for yourself is amazing, and you've done this all independently, right? You put all your music out independently.
Yeah, I'm totally independent, totally self-funded.
That's
It's not
amazing.
my daddy's money.
Sure, but I mean, even like a label or anybody, it's just all
Yeah,
you, and what you've achieved is so inspiring. That's cool.
thank you. I never
Um,
feel like I've done anything, but I appreciate that.
well, okay, so you're in New York, and how long are you there? Do you stay there for? Are you putting music out when you're there, or like when does your M start, or was it already a project when you were living in New York?
It wasn't I was just developing for a long time, and like a lot of people held me back from releasing music for years and years because they just kept saying like, you're not ready, you're not ready, when I was a teenager. Or it'd be like, oh, we're going to sign to this label, and then I'd wait a year and then nothing would happen, and then it's like, okay, I just lost a year. So I didn't actually start putting out music until like 2018 or 2019, because I was like, I just can't fucking wait anymore. Like I can't do it. I can't keep waiting on other people. Actually, in 2016, I did drop a mixtape. But that was more just like, I'm just gonna put this out and not do anything for it and like let it live. It wasn't like I was taking it super seriously, like getting it out to the world.
Mhm.
But yeah, for a long time, it was just getting jerked around and like being put in and out of different deals and all these different types of men. This was like pre-Me Too. So it was like a lot of different men just coming in and being like, you need to change your hair color. You need to gain weight. You need to lose weight. You need to get this done and get that done and sound like this and sound like they didn't ask me at all like who I wanted to be. It was always like who they thought I should be. And it never worked because it wasn't authentic, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So that was like the big issue that I had that really held me back for a long time.
Yeah, especially when you have people that are almost like gatekeepers in the industry, like up here telling you, "Oh, you know, you need to sound more like X artist, or you need to look like this artist, or you need to do what this person's doing."
Right.
Yeah, that
And
would
it's
be
always
so
coming from a place
hard.
of
Yeah.
fear. It's never like, oh, let's be the first to do something new. It's always like, let's copy what this person did that was safe, you know, and that's not
Right.
reality.
100%. I come from radio. I was on the radio for 17 years before this podcast started to really take over. And it was similar. It was like no one wanted to take a chance. Like, oh, well, oh, this radio station, why we're not going to play that? Why not? Well, no, we don't know if it's going to be a hit. We haven't tested it. Or it's like, who cares? Just be the first one to do it. Why do you
Yeah.
need to like wait around and see if somebody else will play it, and then if it becomes a hit, then you're second in line. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like
And
almost
then they have
unfair.
so much admiration for like the artists that do blow. It's like, wow, they made it, they did it. And it's like, well, you could have been a part of that, but you were too scared. So it's like,
Right,
why
exactly.
do you respect those people, or are you, I don't know. It's just interesting. The fear of risk is really interesting in music.
Yeah, it's a huge yeah, exactly, exactly. So then you eventually just say, "You know what? I'm gonna put my own stuff out. I don't really care."
I got pissed. Like I was just so I had gone through like 4 different managers. One had literally stolen my car and gone on crack binge.
Oh
One
my
I had for
god.
2 years, and then he decided to retire like right when things started moving. One, I had a deal on the table with a major label, and then he moved to Europe and it fucked up the deal. Like I had just gone through so many bad experiences. I was sexually assaulted in the studio, like all that
Oh my
stuff that
gosh.
happens to young women in music. I mean, it's oh my gosh, but it's really not. It's like that happens to almost every young girl that I know in music has been assaulted in one way or another. And it's
I'm
a huge
sorry.
problem.
That's yeah, that's
I'm just the
terrible.
only one who talks about it. Like most of us don't talk about it, but I don't fucking care. So yeah, it's a big problem. So I would just at that point, I was like, I realized if I want to win in the way that I want without having to sacrifice my sanity, I was going to have to make money and pay the people and get shit done myself. So then I figured out how to make money, and I became really, really successful as an influencer very, very quickly, and used that money to start to fund everything. And I've been able to do all these amazing, massive projects without labels, and I'm hiring hundreds of people a year. And I've been doing this now since 2019. So it's been great actually to be able to not have to depend on anyone.
Yeah, wow. That's amazing. So you started making money as an influencer, and then you were able to now obviously fund everything you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. I did see the, like, 3 music videos you put out, like, the act 1, 2, and 3, and
Oh,
the
thank you.
production on that, and the way it's, like, just reading about you and then being like, "Oh, wow, she does everything and funds it all herself." Like, the production and what's happening in those videos, is like, "Damn, like, this had to cost a bunch of money," but then to do
It
it to fund it yourself is wild.
Yeah, it's really expensive, but it's also like if a label was doing it, they would have spent way more because we do everything on skeleton crews. My team, like we all do like 5 different jobs. I do like 10 different jobs, you know, and we did that during the pandemic. So it's like we had to
No
use skeleton
way.
crews for everything. Like it was really hard, but it was really, really fun. That project was really special.
Yeah, it's a very cool project. You've put out you had 3 mixtapes out, and then the song or the way that the act 1, 2, and 3 are set up are based off of the name of each of the mixtapes. Is that what what I remember.
Yes. So basically, like I created a universe. So I have characters, Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire, and then Diamond, and each one has a mixtape. And then we created a short film that's 4 different music videos to tell the story of those characters.
Mhm.
It's one character, which is me, and it's different iterations of growth. So it's like every time that I get in the next gem, I achieve a certain level of growth and level up and then become the next character, with the goal of becoming Diamond. So Diamond is not done. That's the body of work I'm working on right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so that's kind of what we're working
I
towards.
was
And
wondering because the end of it was it's end on act 3
yeah,
and you have a diamond.
yeah. So that's
So
what's
then
coming.
okay. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. Very
And
cool.
the story is like grown so much behind the scenes. Like there's so much more that it's gonna live as than just that story. So I'm really excited about that.
When you went into doing these mixtapes, was that a concept from that point? I mean, to do Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and then Diamond. Like when you put out the first one, was it just like, oh, I've I'm gonna name it this, and then did it kind of evolve from the beginning,
So
or was it always an idea?
I had like a little squad I was working with in LA that was like we were all super up and coming, like one up and coming writer, one up and coming producer, and myself. And the three of us just like locked ourselves in a room and we did like 50 or 60 songs in a very short amount of time, maybe like 6 months. So I was like working 3 jobs, going to the studio, writing, and then we got so much done though, because we were just having a blast. And I had no plan for it. I was like, I guess we'll send this to publishers or labels or whatever. I didn't know. And then one night I was asleep and at like 2:30 in the morning, I woke up and I just knew that I was supposed to do these mixtapes. And I like went and I got a pen, I like wrote down the whole vision, just like it was there. So it was really weird. It was like I dreamed it or something. And then I told my friends about it. I was like, what do you think about this idea? And they're like, it's all right. And I was like, fuck you guys, I'm doing it anyway. Like I thought it was cool. So yeah, I just ran with it and I put out the first mixtape after that.
Wow. Yeah, and
We picked
it
like
does
30 of the good songs that I felt like were good enough.
and then to see the songs doing really well, that must have been a pretty validating moment.
It's validating, but I also know how hard I hustled to make sure that they did well. Like because of the oversaturation now with music, it's like you have to hustle so hard just to give a song a chance if you don't have like certain hookups, you know. And
Mhm.
I had no hookups whatsoever. Like everything for me is like we're just gonna figure it out, you know. So yeah, I'm grateful that they've done well. But I know like if I was lazy, they might not have moved the same way, you know.
Yeah. So just because it's all done, yeah, by you.
Yeah,
Self-promotion and, writing, releasing, producing, all this stuff is done in-house.
yeah.
That's amazing. With that, I mean, it's interesting now because, like you were saying earlier, you were in, like, a development deal, and then that people were coming in and telling you, "You should do this or you should do this." With social media and TikTok and different, these platforms give people such a different I mean, nowadays, it's like you could put a song out and it goes viral and have nothing, and then now it's the safety thing right now. The labels are like, "Oh, hey, like you have this happening now."
Mhm, yeah.
Like, have you I'm sure you've gotten a lot of that since doing everything independently and then having stuff work or people coming back like out of the woodwork, like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" Like,
Sometimes it depends. I mean, there's definitely a whole crop of people, mostly in Los Angeles and New York, that like hit me up when something does well or when they see that I like hit a certain number. But I just think of those people as like not bold enough to get on the train. So like get the fuck out of my way. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
you're
right,
not
right.
rocking with me when I'm doing shitty, then you're not gonna eat with me when I'm doing well. So I pretty much ignore them. And as far as like things going viral and your shit blowing up really quick, like I would love, obviously, I would love for that to happen, but I think that I'm also prepared for that to happen. And a lot of times when that happens to young artists, like they're not really prepared, and like they haven't laid the groundwork of like really connecting with fans. And I think like one of the worst things that could happen is like your shit blows up, one song blows up, it goes to number one, whatever, from TikTok, and then the fans are like, oh, that's the person with the song. And they don't know
Right.
you. You know, I don't want to be known for one song. Like I want to build a real career. So to me, it's like about one-on-one getting to know people and having them come to shows, like building real like friends, you know,
Mhm.
they're fans, but they're friends.
Yeah, it's having the longevity is much I would imagine people would wanna strive for that, right? Instead of having, "Oh, I had this one song that did really well on TikTok, and then I had nothing else to show for it," or,
Yeah.
uh, but oh, I've been doing this for 10 years and all my songs continually grow. And if you have that, like you said, if you have the moment of millions of people upon millions of people like hitting a song in one set, like a day or whatever, then you have the back catalog and you've done the work and you have everything else to show.
Right, and I got the next one ready,
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, you're
Like,
already in the
"Okay, you think
game.
this one's good, listen to the one I did last week that's better," you know?
Right, right. I know. I think it's interesting to see a lot of young artists how some of them will be that, right? You're the one song from the whatever TikTok song, or very few are coming out of like, oh, now I have 10 hits, or now I've made it to this level.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, it's just like a lack of infrastructure, like, you just don't have the team to support the success that's hitting you, you know?
Mhm.
And then it's really hard to keep it up.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
So you have Diamond is what then is it gonna be a mixtape or are you even able to talk about it? I don't know. I don't wanna
Diamond,
dig too deep.
we can worry about it next year, but it's like a proper album, and we've got some incredible, highly decorated whatever producers on it, and I'm really excited. It's a great body of work. And in the meantime, I'm putting out a bunch of great music too, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I love this, most recent song you put out, Loser with the Z.
Oh, thanks. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
No, it's great, it's great, and at the very end of the song, I had to listen to it, like, it caught me off guard because at the end, it just kinda cuts, like,
Yeah.
before you finish, I was like, "Oh, what." I'm
I'm
like
such a fucking
and
and
then
then
I'm
I
like, yeah, and I'm like, "Wait a minute. Oh, shit, it really did do that," like, that and I thought that was so rad, it, like, really grabbed my attention because I was listening to it, I was kinda doing other things, like, "What did my computer just do something weird?" Or
Yeah, I
I
just
think
like
it's a cool
messing with people.
song.
Thank you. It's really fun to make.
Yeah, yeah, tell me about it. I mean, it's very bold in the lyrics and stuff and kinda, funny and at parts, but I'm sure it's a serious and it's obviously a serious song as well.
I mean, I don't think of it as a serious. I think of it as just like this shit made me laugh to write, so I'm gonna put it out. I like saying the things that no one else would be comfortable to say. And like same for the lyric video. We did like a little performance where I'm just dancing naked in a cape and like a space helmet.
Yeah,
And
and you have, like, like,
yeah.
scribbled marks over you.
Yeah, I thought it would be funny, and I thought, like, most girls wouldn't do this because they look stupid, and girls are always expected to, like, look put together and look hot and whatever. And I'm like, "Well, what if this time I just don't try to look hot and I just have fun, and be like an idiot?" Because I feel like guys would totally do that, and there's no pressure on them to, like, look a certain like, to everyone will just think it's funny, but when it's a girl, you're almost kind of, like, a little bit horrified by it, which I kind of love.
But I mean, lyrics are you have some real like, self-deprecating, I mean, "I'm such a fucking loser" is the hook of the song.
Yeah, but then it
Right.
says, "I'd rather be a freak than to be like you." So it's like, I'm a loser, but I like that. I love who I am
Right.
150%. And I think like that is really important to just be able to embrace all your quirks and like embrace that you're not that fucking cool all the time. Like I feel like in LA especially, everyone's always trying to be like super cool. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
great, but I was homeschooled. Like I've never been that cool. So I'd rather just, create a safe space for people like me.
Yeah, I think it's a cool song, and everything you've done is rad. That act 3 of that trilogy of songs you put together, like, it was hard. Like, I mean, that piece, that video, I was like, "Damn," like, it gets pretty dark there for a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, I can't like, I was like, "Oh, this is kinda hard to watch," but I mean, obviously, it's real life, and, you're saying things that are showing things probably not a lot of people wanna talk about.
Yeah, I think that's my job, is just to say the things and talk about the things that maybe make people a little like people have shame around or fear around. I think it's that if you can bring those things to the light, it removes the shame, it removes the fear. It's like me too. It's like just saying, yeah, this is a problem and you're not
Mhm.
alone.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And with the songs you have coming up, like, are you gonna release more, like, singles? Like, is Loser gonna be a part of the Diamond record, or is that just kind of a single that you wanted to put out? Or, like, what do you have coming up as far as music releases go?
I'm putting out a shitload of great music, and as of now, none of it's on Diamond. Diamond is something that I'm working towards behind the scenes for now.
Okay.
And I just wanted to I think when you're crafting an album, there's a lot of great songs that you're like, "Oh, I love this song. It's so fun," but maybe it's not the right fit for the specific body of work I'm working on.
Mhm.
And I just think today, especially with algorithms and like the way that it is as a new artist without a label, is like you got to keep putting out music. So I'm happy to like share the journey of the stuff that maybe didn't make the album, but it's still great.
That's
Yeah.
cool. And you have a show coming up in a month or two at the Roxy in LA, which is huge.
Yeah, it's so iconic. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I'm
that'll be
so excited.
exciting.
July 12th.
And do you have something big planned for the show? I mean,
Yeah, my
theatrical, I would imagine, just based off the videos and stuff I've seen of you.
yeah, I'm very like I love performance art. I don't know if you saw the performance I did with the live bugs. I like performed in a casket full of live bugs.
No,
And
I'll have to check that out.
oh, it's really dope. Actually, it's the same song as Act 3. So it's that song End.
And
Yeah,
okay.
it's a really just like really dope performance. I'm really proud of it. But my show is very similar. Like everything is performance art inspired. So there's like a whole story for my full show. I'm not doing my full show at the Roxy. I only have 40 minutes, but my full show, like it has a whole storyline that follows the same story as the short film.
Oh,
So everything
wow.
is like themed. Yeah.
That's cool. And you have another project too, the Genesis. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
I don't think I can talk about it
Okay.
yet, but I do have a top secret project that I'm really excited for and really proud of, and I think is probably the most profound thing I've ever done. And I've been working on it for like a year and a half. So that should be out soon.
Wow, that's exciting. Well, I can't
Yeah.
wait to see that. And I had to go check out that video. You said it's live. Is it a live performance of the
Yeah,
song
it's
you
on my
did?
YouTube.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was
gonna look at it
yeah.
right after this. That's
People think
cool.
it's a music video. I'm like, no, I'm really singing. Like that was really hard.
Yeah, where was it filmed? Was it live, like just live for the video, or were you
It
actually
was
performing somewhere?
there was no audience, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, basically like we mic me up and everything and do the performance as if there is an audience. But
That's
this
cool.
one we had to pause twice because we have to take care of the bugs and make sure that they don't get hurt.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so they had to like fill the casket with all the bugs and stuff. So you have to like pause for a minute. And then they at one point they like closed the cover of the casket and like left me in there for like 3 minutes and I wanted to kill them. Um, but it was, whatever works for the visual. It was beautiful. It was really, really great.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to check it out. Thank you again so much, Em, for doing this too. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It's like it's an honor and a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, this has been great. I have one more question for you though before I let you.
Okay.
I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Um, Figure out what success means to you, because success means different things to everyone. And if you have I think if you just have this like pie in the sky, for lack of a better term, idea of success, like I'm gonna play the Staples Center. I don't know. You need like concrete things that you're like, this is a win. And I think sometimes when you have a really big dream, especially, it can be really hard to just celebrate the little wins. And then you get discouraged because you feel like you're not making progress. So I would say just like learn to celebrate the little wins and know what success means to you. Like, is success for you happiness? Is it peace of mind? Is it having a home? Is it material things? Like, so that you have your goalposts. Because otherwise, if you don't really know what success is, you're probably just going to be like really miserable.
Bringing it backward.